Hello there, movie star and TV star William Shatner here. I'm here to introduce this week's Spectrum Days podcast. Although, quite frankly, I think the only reason they got me here is because the guy that wrote this one is actually from the West Country. So, bit of a tenuous link. But on with the show.
Welcome to Spectrum Days, the podcast where we ruin our childhood memories of games we used to play. With me, Chris, and my cousin Phil.
Hello, how are you doing?
Very good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. I hope everyone else out there in YouTube and podcast land is also doing well. If you've never joined us before, why not? If you are a regular here, I'm sure you're middle class like us and are trying desperately to find a position to sit in that's comfortable, and enjoy some middle-aged men talking rubbish about games from 40 years ago.
Today we're not talking about shuffle and guns. We're talking about Deathchase.
Yeah, the podcast where we talk about things from 40 years ago. In fact, it is this one, isn't it? 1983, this one?
Yes, you're right.
40 years ago.
Yeah.
I expect everyone listening to us thinking they can't remember this, surely. They're not that old. They sound so young and hip.
Yeah, I was 9 years old when this came out. So that means you were about 8.
7 or 8, yeah.
Right. So you must remember this one. Well, it was yesterday.
As I pointed out prior to pressing the start button, no. Although I do have that thing of false memories implanted in me. It's like when your parents show you some photo and you go, oh yeah, I remember that party. And actually you don't. It's just because you've seen the same photo a million times. I've seen so much about this game. Everyone gets comments about it on all the other sort of YouTube review channels and ZX Spectrum fan pages, and it always comes up. But yeah. I actually never owned it. I don't remember playing it. And partly perhaps because it was a 16K game, so very early, as we've just said. And you did have the 16 and I didn't.
Yep. So Deathchase, vehicular combat game, released in 1983 on the ZX Spectrum. And yeah, we did have the 16K. So I definitely played it. Definitely remember it. And just to help jog your memory, it's exactly the same as the speeder bike chases in Return of the Jedi.
Again, what I've heard other people saying, which, funnily enough, came out the same year.
Exactly. I mean, it's based in, I think, 2050. I think was the the backstory is something along the lines of it's in the future and you are some kind of mercenary chasing down criminal bikers or something, and you can shoot them and you get points for killing them. So it's vehicular combat, and it's just like Return of the Jedi, speeder bikes, except for on the loading screen it's just a Kawasaki motorbike digitized to scan.
I don't remember
pixelated.
I don't remember Luke and Leia getting points for killing enemies.
Well, that's true. From what I've looked at, I mean, it was published by Micromega in the UK.
Never heard of them.
No, I can't remember them either.
No.
And in Spain, it was published by Ventamatic.
That's familiar.
Yeah, for all of our Spanish fans. And apparently a lot of people accidentally, not the sort of thing we would do, call it 3D Deathchase.
No, we haven't been calling it Death Race for the past month, have we?
No,
in anticipation of doing this review, we didn't once get the name wrong.
It looks like it was Timex in the USA got the rights, and they rebranded the game as Psychopath.
I love that. That Deathchase is just too terrible a name for the US. Rebranding it Psychopath.
Yeah.
Which doesn't sound like psychopath at all.
Yeah, I know. And apparently, I mean, I bet there's a great article on whizwords.net, Deathchase, a celebration. If you search for that, maybe we can add a link. There's a great article there. So I'm taking the information from there. Apparently, what they, the people from Micromega said was that the people in the US thought that it was a play on the word psychopath. So psychopath.
I love it. I love it.
Brilliant.
We weren't allowed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We had to have Hero. They weren't allowed Deathchase or Psychopath.
and it's also amazing back in those days. I mean, this is a publisher, Micromega, but from what I'm reading in this article, it sounds like they were actually doing tax software or financial software, which seems to be a recurring theme because the guys at Durrell.
Thank you for phoning, Durrell.
they went from making and publishing games to becoming some sort of financial admin software company. So
there's no money in computer games, as both of us know.
Yeah, that's true. So, I mean, I remember this game being absolutely fantastic. I loved it. So if we did play on the 16K, I was, like I said, only 9. And yeah, I can remember having that feeling of thinking you're on a speeder bike. But it was the cover, nothing in the game tried to reference anything like that. You were really on a motorbike. So, just in our imagination, it was like.
Yeah, it's just coincidence. I mean, no doubt was programming this. He must have been programming this prior to it coming out.
Well, that's true.
Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
I would have thought it was just a coincidence, isn't it?
Return of the Jedi, isn't it celebrating 40th? Because it's been in the cinema in the UK, right? It's been back in the cinema. It was 40, so yeah.
I would have thought it was coincidence. I don't know. Or George Lucas saw, hey, that Deathchase.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that in my film.
Well, no,
that's how he sounds, by the way.
I'm the famous movie maker, George Lucas. I make all the Star Wars movies, all them movies, and all the other things that I've done. American Graffiti. Yeah, anyway, the speeder bikes, those are definitely my idea, okay? I didn't look at some ZX Spectrum game. No, damn it, I came up with those all on my own. One day I was out on my bike and I thought, hey, this would be great if you could do it at 1,000,000 miles an hour through the trees. And Luke and Leia were there and Ewoks. So yeah, my idea, okay? Mine.
No one knows much about the developer. So there was only one guy who made the whole game, the art. I think he did the sound as well. So Mervyn Ernest John Escort. In this article, it talks about that he started his work life as a docker in Bristol, and then became a coder developer. He also made a game called Full Throttle, another bike game, more a race game rather than a futuristic vehicle combat game. And then he just sort of disappeared. Apparently, there's not much information on him since 1986. I've looked through Twitter. The proper real journalists try to track him down and interview him for some retro magazines and things, and apparently just doesn't want to talk about it at all. He's got no interest in talking about his days as a Spectrum developer, which is a bit of a shame.
Because you couldn't find him, Chris, but here he is tonight.
This is your life. So there isn't really that much to say about the game. I can remember
that doesn't bode well.
It's not. It's not really 3D. You get the sensation of the sprites are coming at you, right? So you're driving through a forest, dodging the trees left and right, trying to fire and destroy these enemy bikers. But I can mostly remember just dodging the trees. So that probably shows I played it for about 60 seconds every so often and never even found the right key to shoot. So we'll see what I'm like playing it now.
Well, according to your Sinclair in 1992, they said it was the best Spectrum game ever.
Wow.
So it's got to be good.
Yeah, this is it. This is going to be the best one we've done.
All right. Well, should we go off and play it then?
Go on then. Let's do it.
Okay. Right, folks, we're going to go off and play it now through the magic of editing and wizardry. It'll just be a few seconds for you. But for us, it'll be several days of playing Death Race Chase to a high degree and probably completing it. So join us then and have a go yourself, and we'll see you in a minute.
Can you send me a copy of the inlay so I know the keys?
No, I want you to suffer. It's your choice, this game. And we're back. So, did you play Deathchase, everybody? Did you click on the link below and give it a go? We certainly did. We've been playing it for, at least 3 days now, non-stop playing it. I can't stop playing it. How about you, Chris?
Yeah, I can't stop playing it. Is there an end to it?
There's just, yes. From my understanding, it's 8 levels, but it sort of wraps round again, or 8. Was it? No, there's not levels. What are they called in this?
Sectors,
because that's cool and more space agey. Yeah, I think there's 8 cycles, and then it sort of cycles, excuse the pun, and then it goes back round again.
Yeah. I think I only got to Sector 4, maybe.
Yeah, me too.
But remember, there are 2 parts to each sector, day and night.
Yes, I didn't really realise that.
No, I didn't remember that was going to happen. So level 1 starts out really smooth. There's no tutorial. In fact, it doesn't even, you get a choice, 1 for keyboard, 2 for Kempston, which for all the young people out there, that means that was a brand of joysticks. But it doesn't show you anywhere what the keys are. So it took me a while to realise.
It does in the instructions.
Oh yeah. So and there was it's number 1 for left and 0 for right. So the 2 opposite ends of the keyboard. So it's almost. I mean, that helps with the realism because it's almost like you've got motorbike handlebars.
Yeah, we'll see. Is that why?
Was there a game? Can you remember a game on the Spectrum, a car like Formula 1 type game, which came with a circular piece of cardboard that you used to just put on the keyboard to go left and right?
You imagining that, surely?
I don't know.
No, that's just something you made.
I don't know. I remember then later to avoid people copying games, there'd be some kind of, you'd get inside a box, like a plastic thing with a transparent kind of, I don't know what to call it, like a lens or something, and you'd have to look for something in the instruction manual and decode it.
Yeah.
So you used to get given things in the boxes, mostly to try and avoid people copying games. I've got this.
The colour wheel. Wasn't there the colour wheels?
Colour wheels.
Spin the thing round.
Yeah, big instruction manuals where you'd have to go to page 28, paragraph 3. What's the word?
Yeah.
I kind of vaguely remember some game coming with a steering wheel, which was really like a large inside of some sellotape that you would put on top of your keyboard and just use that to go left and right.
Genius. The 80s.
I think it's something like
computer innovation, wasn't it? It really was.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so it's 1 for left, 0 for right, and you've got to start your engine as well with a button to accelerate through the trees. Level 1's pretty bereft of trees, pretty easy. Kill 2 or 3 enemies, I can't remember, to get onto the... Yeah, 2. Yeah, then you go on to the night, kill another 2. Then you're into Sector 2, when all of a sudden you're in a forest.
It does ramp up quite quick. Yeah,
exactly. It's like goes from the odd tree here and there to suddenly you're in the thick of it, into a large forest. There's sometimes tanks on the horizon. Some helicopters also seem to be dropping some enemy off or something by landing on the horizon. You could try and take them out. And you just earn points, which are represented as dollars, for killing everyone. So I know it's just, again, like a few of these, I think a bit like Jetpack, really. One of those kind of games where I think it is fun. I found it fun to play. a kind of little mini game like for nowadays, which there'll probably be nothing like it again because it wouldn't be enough. You couldn't charge for this. I don't know if there are other games like it out there at the moment. But it's one of those kind of games which will get kind of lost, I imagine. That people won't ever make another game like this because it's just too. You'd just have to add so much more content, try and make it into a bigger game, and it probably wouldn't be worth it. It's just a fun little game.
Yeah, it's almost. Well, I hate to compare it in any serious way, but the essence of what you're talking about is this sort of like Flappy Bird.
Yeah,
it's that sort of thing about it.
Yes. Yeah, maybe maybe on the iPhone or Android there are games like this, like the hyper casual games, like dodging left and right. But maybe again it also works on a bigger screen. I don't know, you could put the phone horizontal. Maybe there's something as good, but it just, I don't know, mixed with the nostalgia and the memories, because I really can remember playing this one when I was a kid. And the other thing it made us do was look at the dates and trying to figure out when this was launched, and we think it was the end of 1983.
Well, it got reviewed in the first issue of Crash, which we worked out was 1984.
Yeah.
So it was obviously already out by then. And
Return of the Jedi was out June in UK, 1983.
Or summer of 83.
So we think that it may have inspired a bit of the gameplay.
Yeah, it's certainly unless someone else can definitely tell us when Deathchase came out. Can't seem to specifically find a specific date, but the fact that it was reviewed in Crash probably seems to suggest that it was after Jedi came out, but who knows?
Yeah, so if Mervin's out there, let us know, because and the front cover was a kind of futuristic space bike. Right, except for then it was re-released as a budget title, which seemed to have a motorbike on the front cover.
Yeah, they totally changed it. Yeah,
and I mean, and going back to play it, it's really clear what an influence it was on Star Fox, Space Harrier, and all those games that came after.
Yeah, it's uncanny.
It's totally the same.
I was just reading that review in Crash, actually, because you were saying about the range thing, the bottom right.
Yeah.
Because the bottom left, you got your dollars that you're earning, your lives, and then on the right is range. Mm-hmm. Which, I wasn't sure what that is either, but you're so intently looking at the screen because those trees are coming at you like nobody's business. You haven't got time to look at how many dollars or lives or whatever anyway, only like in between when you're going from one stage to the other, there's a bit of a pause. But they say in here in the review that there is a range indicator to let you know how close the other bikes are to you. But this, interestingly, whoever's reviewing it then goes to say, but I never even noticed it because the 3D effect is so good you can fire by instinct as you would in real life.
I find that to be true. Yeah,
it's just this guy, this reviewer was on his motorbike back in the 80s, firing bolts.
As you would in real life.
He goes on to say the graphics of the bolts firing away are very good, and so is the explosion when you hit something. So realistic that the bits seem to fly up over your shoulders. Slamming into a tree at full tilt is quite an experience. This game is dangerously addictive to play. And he then goes on to say, Return of the Jedi has nothing on this. The chase through the trees is breathtaking, quite literally. Fantastic graphics, exceptionally smooth movement. The bike handles really well, and you can see the rider's hands turning the handlebars. Buy it.
Well, this was all totally new. I mean, it had never been seen before, anything like this, right?
I mean, that does make it
home, at least.
Yeah. I mean, that's quite a glowing review, isn't it?
Yeah, It blew that guy's mind.
Yeah.
Although the explosions reminded me of walnuts rather than realistic-looking explosions.
Yes, and I think you said the bikes look like fish.
when they lean over, left and right, they suddenly transformed into fish.
I look forward to seeing what appears on the screen on our YouTube channel to represent that.
But I mean, he was kind of right. I like the shooting, and it was interesting for a Spectrum game. I'm surprised there wasn't ammo and a time limit just to make it even more difficult. The first few games that we played of this, the sessions were quite long. So compared to many of the other Spectrum games we played, you load up Manic Miner or
die straight away.
You die straight away. I felt that he got the balance in pretty good for level 1. It did ramp up a bit too quick on level 2.
But I did find after playing it, I don't know, a couple of times, that by the time I was getting to level Sector 3 and Sector 4, I sort of still had all my lives.
Yeah.
But it was really then by Sector 4, the trees are so quick.
Yeah.
That's when I lost all 3 lives, just bang, gone in Sector 4. I think this is one of those games where you'd have to sit, I think, and play it a lot to get good at it. Yeah. I am curious to know whether it's easier with a joystick.
Well, hello. I'm Ken, the Kempston joystick. Surely things are always better with a joystick. Forget those silly old keys. They don't go anywhere. I go up and down, left and right. If you hold me properly, I go all the way round. There's my buttons. Press them. Something might happen. Oh, look, there's my lead. Plug me in. Plug me in.
I wonder. I got a feeling it's a game we probably would have played with the joystick.
Yeah.
Had we had one, I bet this is one we'd have preferred to play with the joystick. But again, let us know, folks, if you're listening. Was this one that do you remember playing it with joystick? Was it easier with joystick, better with a joystick? I'm sure there's some modern way of plugging in joysticks to computers and emulating these things, and I'm sure it's not beyond the wit of man. But us idiots who don't know what we're doing, just using the keys. But let us know, folks. Was it better or easier?
Well, I mean, so I give this one a thumbs up from me. It was good. I liked it.
A full thumbs up, a thumbs all the way up.
Well, it's a Spectrum game. Thumbs up. Definitely. I mean, I wouldn't pay £70 for it now.
No, according to Crash, $6.95 when this came out.
Yeah, but with inflation,
so that sort of full price game. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't cheap. It wasn't a cheap game.
I mean, this does amaze me. The more we talk about these things, I mean, we got amazing, fantastic memories for it, but I just feel. At the same, it just must have been such a mind this must have been just so new that we were just so amazed with it that you'd be okay spending that £7. And
you weren't spending £7 in 1983. Your dad was. I give it 9 out of 10. I genuinely thought it was a good game, actually. Yeah, really good. Like, I can see why your Sinclair in 1992, why were your Sinclair still going in 1992, gave it the best Spectrum game ever. I think that's pretty contentious, but yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
good
best
game.
Ever.
Yeah, that's high praise indeed. But it's a good game. Yeah, I can see why people liked it. I can see why Crash gave it a Crash Smash. And I can see why people talk about it. And I can now definitely 100% confirm. No, I didn't play it back then. I don't remember playing it at all. If I did, I've completely forgotten it. But that seems unlikely. I've remembered everything else eventually, but I don't remember this one.
I mean, it's great, and I enjoyed playing it, but. Maybe I'd say Jetpack was better. Like, if you're saying best ever.
There's so much more to it, though. Like you're saying, this is there's not much to it, but you happy to play it.
Yeah,
We've looked at other games where we've gone, oh, there's just nothing to it, and you only want to spend 5 minutes playing it. Now, back then, obviously, like we said before, we would have played these games longer because it was all you had. But this, playing it, I'm like, I want to play it again. It is still addictive, like Crash said. It is.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the concept is just a universal. Thinking now, of course, on the iPhone, Android, there would have been Subway Surfer, which is a swipe left and right to dodge things coming at you kind of game.
Mm.
And that was huge, right? Subway Surfer, Temple Run. So there's kind of run and dodge left and right. So those were kind of, I guess, modern day equivalents. But even those are now quite a few years old. So I don't know.
Temple Run, blimey.
Yeah. So I don't know what it would be now. Like I said, like hyper casual games, which are just not such big budget, but I've got loads of ads for all the times you die just to make money off the ads. I don't know, but Jetpack. I mean, even we looked at Saboteur the other day, Way of the Exploding Fist. Those are all classics too. But if this one got number one, we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see. At the end of the year, once we've seen a few more, we'll compile our own top list. People love lists.
Yeah, I've not seen anyone else do like top 10 Spectrum games.
No, so I've never seen.
We'll be the first. You mark my word.
Will there be pictures of us gurning?
Yeah, looking shocked and amazed. Number 3 will astound you. And you got to do that caveat at the beginning. These are our lists. You might have a different list, but these are our top 10s. So what are we looking at next week then?
Well, another one of your favourites, actually. Match Day.
Match Day? Is that where you sort of make things out of matches?
Well, the Premier League is kind of nearing its end. So it's time to finally look at a football game. And
it's football.
Match Day on the Spectrum was a fantastic. It's an amazing game. Really good.
Well, I can remember.
Yeah, brilliant. I played many hours of Match Day. Although, as usual, I couldn't put my hand in the fire and say if I played Match Day or Match Day 2 the most, but I definitely played both games. Loved football games. I've loved football games on every platform, every console, every computer, everything. Love football games. And Match Day was the one that started it all.
Well, join us next week if you like listening to Chris talking to himself, and where we'll be looking at Match Day. Thank you for joining us here in Spectrum Days, where we've been looking at Deathchase, the amazing 3D, superlatively realistic 3D smashing into trees game, which I think is right where they get the matches from Match Day, when they smash into the tree with the coconuts or whatever it is that Chris thinks the bikes turn into, and it splinters, and that's where you get the matches from. So there you go. Thank you very much for watching and listening. If you were listening, then you can listen to the whole thing again on YouTube. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you can go to the thing and listen to it on the podcast instead. It's different. It's different in both places. We'll see you then. Bye. If you'd like to hear more of this, then please do encourage us by subscribing. That way you won't miss out on the next episode. If you're listening to us on your favourite podcast platform, please give us 5 stars. And if you're watching us on YouTube, give us a thumbs up and leave a comment below about what game we should look at next. Feel free to follow us on Twitter. You can drop us a line using @SpectrumDaysPod, find us on our website, spectrumdays.com, and you can email us at hello@spectrumdays.com. And you can friend us on Facebook by looking up Spectrum Days.